Newsfirst at 9. Headlines.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News live from the Newsfirst Centre in Colombo. I'm Nadim Majid and these are your headlines. Sri Lanka regains #1 ranking in T20s following World T20 triumph over India. World champion Sri Lankan team to arrive in Sri Lanka tomorrow. A country unites to celebrate. And India commences voting in the world's largest general election. Let's now quickly cross over to the main news desk. I'll join you right after this with more on the celebrations and the tears of joy over Sri Lanka's victory at the World T20.
Good evening, I'm Madhushka Balasurya.
I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And before we start the news, Stephanie, quick question. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 22 years to be precise.
And if I'm not mistaken, that would have made you 4 at the last time this happened.
Exactly.
Sri Lanka has won a World Cup. And for more on this story, we now cross back to Nadim Majid from the newsroom. Nadim.
Well, welcome back. Now, Sri Lanka had played too well in too many tournaments, looked like winners in too many finals, and had still failed to bag the prize. But last night's match took the entire country to the edge, and finally victory was Sri Lanka's. Fans across the country gathered with one voice to celebrate this momentous occasion.
Stay in your mind for a long, long time, right?
To have been at the Shera Bangala Stadium for the final would have been great. But to see Sri Lanka come together and roar in wild, unbridled joy was something else. For many, last night's match was the 5th time they had gathered in front of a big screen. When glory finally came, they made it their own. The CRN FC grounds in Colombo, where the match was telecast live on the big screen, was packed to capacity. Cheers erupted across the grounds when Sri Lanka scored the winning runs.
Sri Lanka had to win this T20 because they had the formidable team. Hip hip hooray! For Sangha, hip hip hooray!
There's nothing to say, so happy, no words to say.
We are taking this time to thank to Sri Lankan team. This was a much awaited win for Sri Lanka and the whole of Sri Lanka. We feel extremely ecstatic.
The Indian team to come up first, please. In our
Celebrations were not restricted to Colombo as fans flocked to the streets across the island to celebrate a long-awaited victory.
Let's take a quick look at the events on the field that preceded Sri Lanka's final triumph.
The final of the ICC World T20 2014 between India and Sri Lanka worked off in Mirpur, Dhaka yesterday following a 40-minute rain delay. Lasit Malinga captained the Sri Lankan team for a 3rd time. Tisara Pereira was called up to replace Sikuge Prasanna, the only change to the team that played the semi-finals. Winning the toss, Malinga invited the Indians to take first lease of the wicket, a decision that proved fruitful when the Indians lost opener Ajinkya Rahane early on for 3 runs, bowled by Angelo Matthews. However, the informed Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli went on the offensive and put on a rapid-fire second wicket partnership for 60 runs before Sharma was dismissed for 29. Yuvraj Singh then joined Virat Kohli at the crease but failed to gain any traction and settle in as the Sri Lankan bowlers opted for the miserly approach. Singh's dismissal brought their 55-run partnership to an end. In spite of Kohli's confident 77 off 58, which comprised of 5 boundaries and 4 sixers, an outstanding display of dead bowling by the Sri Lankans restricted India to 130 for the loss of 4 after 20 overs. Sri Lanka were dealt a shock early on in the innings when Kusal Janit Pereira was dismissed early for 5 runs. Opener TM Dilshan and Mahela Jayawardene then proceeded to put on 36 runs for the second wicket before Dilshan was dismissed on 18.
There it was, I think that was the Karen ball then, and it's going to go all the way for 6, is it? No, what a catch! Great catch from that man, Virat Kohli.
Jayawardene made a runner ball 24 before he too was dismissed.
Silky hands, soft hands.
After 15 overs, Sri Lanka were on 98 for the loss of 4 wickets with Kumar Sangakkara and Thisara Perera looking strong at the crease. Sangakkara, who steered the team to victory, scored a composed 52 off 35 with 6 boundaries and a 6, while Thisara Perera too found his form and contributed with a rapid 23. Keeping their calm under pressure, the Sri Lankan team reached the target of the 5th delivery of the 18th over, having lost 4 wickets, handing them a 6-wicket victory over India and the title of World T20 champions. Kumar Sangakkara was rightfully adjudged the player of the match.
Well, Best spearhead Lasith Malinga, who captained the team in the final, said that winning the World T20 was the best farewell that could have been given to both Mahela Jayawardene and Kumar Sangakkara.
I believe that great captains like Kumar Sangakkara and Mahela Jayawardene came forth because of leaders like Arjuna Ranatunga, Hashan Tilakaratne and Sanat Jayasuriya, who held the captaincy before them. I think I too was able to obtain the experience. I believe it was a great boon to us when we came into this tournament. There were 4 or 5 captains in our team. They had experience and had participated in World Cups. After Chandimal, I was given the captaincy and I thought that I should obtain their assistance from each and every one of them. I think I did that quite successfully. That is why after 1996, today we have been able to win a World Cup under my captaincy. There was also an opinion prior to this that fast bowlers were unsuited for captaincy. I think I have done justice for fast bowlers and proven that if you are able to pick up wickets, then you can do anything.
The history of Sri Lankan cricket, whenever they are playing, they go for the wide Yorkers. Malinga is someone, who loves to bowl his Yorkers. And I think this game was slightly different because their plan, the execution was so good that you can see, what was really happening. So, it's something that they keep on doing, and, you may be noticing it now because, it's a World Cup finals, but otherwise, they are a side that keep doing all this stuff, and they are fantastic. They keep changing their plans when needed.
Now, Sri Lanka's victory at the ICC World T20 final also reaffirmed their position as the number 1 ranked T20 team in the world, pushing India back down to number 2. 96 World Cup winning captain Arjuna Ranatunga had this to say on the 10th final.
We saw players like Yuvraj Singh, Dhoni couldn't go after bowling, and to keep India for 130 was a very, very decent bowling performances by the Sri Lankan bowlers. As far as I am concerned, a lot of credit should go to Malinga, Kulasekara and Sachitra Senanayaka. They are the unsung heroes. I think they kept the middle order batting very quiet when needed. When Sri Lanka came into bat, I thought after losing a couple of wickets, Sangakkara did the anchoring. I think Sangakkara had a very ordinary batting tour as far as the 2020 World Cup is concerned, but when it matters, he came out and anchored the innings and got the home through. I thought a lot of credit should go to the youngsters on this entire tournament, the way they batted, the way they bowled, the way they fielded. And generally when you win a World Cup, it was the seniors who had to do the bulk of work. But we saw on this particular tournament, most of the work done by the youngsters, supported by the seniors.
Now, a notable feature of the final was that Mahela Jayawardene and Kumar Sangakkara, who both commenced their T20 international careers at the same stadium the same year, were able to bid farewell to T20 international cricket together. Newsfirst Shamir Rasuldeen for this report.
It was a sheer prediction by Darren Sammy, the Windies captain, after their defeat to Sri Lanka at the semi-final of the T20 World Cup just 4 days ago.
We are a praying team. We know God normally answers our prayers. But today, I guess, you know, two gentlemen who've played for Sri Lanka, you know, given a lot not only to Sri Lanka cricket, but, you know, cricket on the whole. And, you know, I guess the Almighty wants them to live on a high. So I guess they have one more game to try and win a World Cup and live on a high. So probably that's the reason why God put a hand in this match.
Yesterday's final was incidentally the third time that Sri Lanka has qualified for the finals of an ICC World T20 tournament. Although Sri Lanka had the opportunity of winning the title on home soil in 2012, they were thwarted by the West Indies, who defeated them in the final by 36 runs. The two most senior cricketers in the Sri Lankan side, which won the title this year, are Mahela Jayawardene and Kumar Sangakkara.
Firstly, congratulations to the Sri Lankan team, especially Mahela and Sanga, their last T20 game, and I think Darren was right. You know, the God was indeed smiling on them, but all in all, a great performance from them. Yeah, I am disappointed that we couldn't, you know, cross the line.
Mahela and Sangakkara bid farewell to T20 international cricket yesterday, while adding more records to the record books. Yesterday, Mahela Jayawardene became the first cricketer to surpass the 1,000 run mark in the World T20.
Hi, my wife's watching and my kid. Thank you very much for the support, family, friends. But this is for the fans, Sri Lankans. They've been waiting for a long time for this, since '96 when these boys did it. So they've been thick and thin during us. You know, they've supported us. So this is for all the fans back home in Sri Lanka.
Kumar Sangakkara also joined the record books yesterday as only the fourth cricketer to surpass 25,000 runs in all forms of international cricket.
I think about the future journey of our team, whether I am there or Mahela is there, or whether both of us are not there. I think that the younger players in the team have proven that whether we are there or not, they can move forward without any problem.
Mahela and Sangakkara played their first T20 international match in 2006 against England. Both friends have captained the Sri Lankan team in T20 internationals on several occasions. Kumar Sangakkara retires from T20 international cricket, having scored 1,382 runs in 56 matches. Mahela Jayawardene, meanwhile, has scored 1,493 runs in 55 matches. In the end, one was reminded about Darren Sammy's prophecy after West Indies lost their semi-final against the island nation. One thing was clear: Sri Lanka's win in the World T20 final yesterday was a perfect happy ending for Kumar and Mahela, who thus retired from T20 internationals on a memorable high. Shamir Rasuldeen, Newsfirst, Colombo.
Well, President Mahinda Rajapaksa, of course, was among those to extend their best wishes, their congratulations rather, to the World T20 champions.
A communique issued by the Department of Government Information noted that the President had congratulated skipper Lasith Malinga, who led the team to victory in the finals. The communique reads further that the President also congratulated all the other cricketers, including Kumar Sangakkara, for their contribution to the victory. Extending his congratulations for the victory, Opposition Leader Ranil Wickramasinghe noted that Mahela and Sangakkara had not only made their final farewell to T20 international cricket a beautiful one, but had also made the final match a memorable one. Issuing a communique, Opposition Leader Ranil Wickramasinghe, reminiscing on the 1996 World Cup victory, congratulated the team, including Lasith Malinga, on their becoming world champions.
Well, the champion team is due to make a triumphant return home tomorrow.
Sri Lanka Cricket noted that the Sri Lankan cricket team, who will arrive in the island at 4 p.m. tomorrow, will participate in a media briefing at the VIP terminal of the Bandaranaike International Airport in Katunaika. SLC's announcement also notes that the team will then board an open vehicle and arrive at Golface Green in procession via Sidua, Jayala, Kandana, Mahabagi, Handala, Wattara and Paliagoda. Sri Lanka Cricket has requested fans to line each side of the road that the procession will take and to gather at Golface Green to welcome the team. The Champions Network, Newsfirst and MTV and NBC have made all preparations to telecast the triumphant return of our victorious national team live.
Now moving from India and Sri Lanka on the sporting front to India and Sri Lanka on the political front. President Mahinda Rajapaksa has thanked Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh for India's abstention from the vote on the US-sponsored resolution on Sri Lanka at the UN Human Rights Council in Geneva. The Times of India reported that President Mahinda Rajapaksa had addressed a warm thank you letter to Prime Minister Manmohan Singh days after India disregarded domestic political pressures and chose to abstain from the vote on the resolution. The Times of India quoted Indian officials as saying that the decision to abstain from voting gives them greater flexibility to pressure Colombo on political devolution.
Indian media reports say that 32 Sri Lankan nationals currently living in India are among 422 individuals named by the Sri Lankan government as members of banned LTT offshoots.
Last week, the government proscribed 16 groups, including the LTTE, for their alleged terrorism links and prohibited Sri Lankans from making any contact with them. Some 422 individuals have been listed in a Gazette notice published on the 21st of March. Indian media reported that while 32 Sri Lankan nationals residing in India among those listed on the Gazette notice, only 6 Indian addresses have been cited. According to reports, the other individuals on the list are residents of Australia, Belgium, Canada, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, Italy, Malaysia, Netherlands, Norway, Switzerland, Thailand, the UK and Sri Lanka.
Now hopping across the pond, the first phase of the Indian elections began in the northeastern state of Assam today, with voters casting ballots in an election that would decide the fate of over 1.2 billion people. The Hindu nationalist opposition Bharatiya Janata Party, that has promised economic rejuvenation and jobs, is tipped to emerge as the clear leader, but likely to fall short of an absolute majority. The elections to choose members to the 543-seat Lok Sabha or House of the People will be spread over 5 weeks, kicking off in the two small northeastern states of Assam and Tripura, then spread into the northern Himalayan plateaus, western deserts and tropical south, before ending in the densely populated northern plains. In the past, the strife-torn northeastern region of the country has seen poll boycotts from insurgents, and there have also been threats against candidates from the outlawed United Liberation Front of Assam, or ULFA. Surveys show that India's 815 million voters are said to inflict a resounding defeat on the ruling Congress party, led by the Nehru-Gandhi dynasty, after the longest economic slowdown since the 1980s put the brakes on development and job creation in a country where half of the population is under 25 years of age. The Congress party campaign is being led by Rahul Gandhi, while Narendra Modi has been nominated the prime ministerial candidate of the BJP. A new anti-corruption party, the AAP, is also contesting the elections after a spectacular result in the local polls. The AAP, or Common Man's Party, made a strong showing at the state assembly polls in the capital Delhi and is standing for all the seats in parliament. However, elections in India's sprawling democracy are notoriously difficult to predict, and translating vote share into actual seats won is not always reliable.
We are now joined by Newsfirst bureau correspondent Sarmista Saka from Kolkata with the latest on the Indian general election.
The first phase included Lakhimpur, Tezpur, Kaliapur, Jorhat and Dibrugarh. It is said that a total of 1,221 polling stations were there which operated, and about 8,588 areas were hypersensitive, and there were huge deployment of security forces. In Tripura West constituency, State Chief Electoral Officer Ashutosh Jindal say that 3-tier security arrangement has been made across the state for peaceful election. Mr. Sarkar, India.
Now moving back onto matters here at home, Veera Sumana Veerasinghe, who was elected to the Southern Provincial Council, was sworn in as a provincial minister today before President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
Veera Sumana Veerasinghe took oaths before President Mahinda Rajapaksa today at Temple Trees as the Southern Provincial Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs, Culture and Arts and Housing, Construction and Employment. Meanwhile, Chief Minister of the Western Province Prasanna Ranattunga assumed duties as the Chief Minister once again at the Chief Minister's office today.
For the next 5 years, we have a responsibility to gather around everyone and strengthen the President's program to move forward. If we committed mistakes in the past, we need to rectify those mistakes and move ahead. We are vested with the responsibility of transforming the Western Provincial Council to an institution that will render a service to the people.
ජනතාවට සංවේදී ආයතනයක් බවට පත් කරන්න ප්‍රායෝගික ආයතනයක් බවට පත් කිරීමේ වගකීම අපි සියලු දෙනාටම තියෙනවා.
Meanwhile, Udaya Gammampila assumed duties as the Western Province Minister of Agriculture and Culture and Arts.
සාමාන්‍යයෙන් දෙවියන්ගෙන් ඉල්ලුවාම සමහර දේවල් ලැබෙනවා සමහර දේවල් නොලැබෙනවා.
Sometimes God grants what you ask for and sometimes God does not. The prayer that we made together was aired on the media. The media was there on that day. The President too may have seen it. Today our prayers have been answered. Not only have we been able to obtain the same ministerial portfolios as before, we have also been given 2 new portfolios, culture and arts. Our objective should not be to be the best ministry in the country, but to be the most exemplary ministry in the entire world.
කලා කියන අලුත් විෂයන් දෙකක් ඒ අමාත්‍යාංශයට එකතු කරලා. අද අපේ ඉලක්කය වෙන්න ඕනි රටේ හොඳම අමාත්‍යාංශ වෙන්න නෙවෙයි ජාත්‍යන්තර අවධානයට ලක්වුණු ආදර්ශමත් අමාත්‍යාංශයක් බවට පත් කර ගැනීම.
Meanwhile, candidates who contested under the ticket of the Democratic Party and were elected were also sworn in today at an event held at the party office in Kotte.
අපට මීට කලින් මන්ත්‍රීවරු 5 දෙනෙක් අපේ පක්ෂයට එකතු වුණා.
5 members joined our party before. This time around, that number increased to 12. With the 12 members from the West and the South, we now have a contingent of 17 members in the country. There are hundreds of thousands in this country who can claim to this victory. We are engaging in politics for the people. We will not hesitate to take action against those who have no sense of discipline. It never happened in the past and it will not happen in the future.
The visiting Minister of Public Security of the Republic of Vietnam, Tran Dai Quang, signed 2 bilateral agreements in Colombo today. Agreements on prisoner exchanges and extradition were signed today. The Secretary to the Ministry of Law and Order, Major General Nanda Malabarachi, and the Minister of Justice were present at the signing.
The Tamil National People's Front charges that injunctions have been issued against organizations engaged in looking for evidence for the United Nations investigation. Gajendra Kumar Ponnambalam made this statement at a media briefing held in Colombo today.
If the UN is faced with a situation where they are unable to conduct an investigation in Sri Lanka, they will attempt an alternative. And the only media for them is the diaspora. There is a possibility of evidence leaking through this connection, which is why this method has been banned. By banning such an organization, how are the Tamil people to achieve true reconciliation? By banning the diaspora, the true stance of the government has been revealed. If the government believes that their proposal and judgment is the only way to achieve reconciliation, they are wrong. They need to hold discussions in order to engage with the Tamil people and win them over.
இந்த செயல்பாடுகள் ஊடாகவும் அரசாங்கம் வெளிப்படுத்தியிருக்கிறது.
And on this first night, trade unions charged the decision to make gratuity payments to state sector employees via banks is a first step to abolish the gratuity scheme. They point out that a number of benefits enjoyed by the state sector employees such as Social Security will be taken away.
Trade union representatives who took part in the Arthatarika program to discuss the issues that they have to face as a result of the government's new system of making gratuity payments said that they are completely against the new system.
What the government is saying is that they can receive the gratuity payment from the Department of Pensions or from a bank. Then they say that the money that will be given to the Department of Pensions is from the money that is given from the Treasury. Thereby, because of the delay at the Treasury, there are around 18,000 pensioners who have nothing. The government is forcibly driving them to the banks.
එතකොට මේ කුමන්ත්‍රණකාර ලෙස ආණ්ඩුව බලාත්කාරයෙන් බැංකුවට තල්ලු කරනවා මේගොල්ලන්ව. ඒ සෙල්ලම කලිනුත් කරා දිගටම. අද වෙනකොට
They played this game before. They are not making payments for loans over 10 months. They are forced to pay the interest as a whole. Therefore, the government is continuing to build obstacles for various schemes including social security. We can consider this method of paying the gratuity as the first step taken by the government to lay their hands on the pensions of the people.
Still in business news, international ratings agency Fitch Ratings has given a BB- rating for an upcoming sovereign bond issue by the Sri Lankan government. Reuters news agency reports that the BB- rating was prompted by relatively strong growth and human development in Sri Lanka.
International media reports say that the Sri Lankan government will make a $500 million sovereign bond issue in the near future. Fitch Ratings says that a BB- rating was given to the upcoming bond issue since Sri Lanka had made commitments to address the fiscal deficit and high government debt burden through the 2014 budget. Furthermore, Fitch Ratings noted that the BB- rating was prompted by Sri Lanka's good payment record. The government noted in the 2014 budget that it would raise $1,500 million through sovereign bond issues. In January, the Sri Lankan government raised $1,000 million through a sovereign bond issue.
A special seminar was held today to create awareness on the World Conference on Youth 2014 headed by Sri Lankan Ambassador to Japan, Admiral Vasantha Karnagoda. Newsfirst Ramesh Ilugal Bandara filed this report.
Around the world in 40 days.
A special seminar was held today to create awareness on the World Conference on Youth 2014, headed by Sri Lankan Ambassador to Japan, Admiral Vasantha Karnagoda. Youth representatives of the Cabinet Office of Japan attended the event, along with university students and journalists. The two national delegates that will represent Japan at the conference handed over the Japanese national flag to our team and then shared these thoughts on the conference.
Of course, I was excited and I was a little bit nervous, but I will do my best. Be practical and also I want to bring something in Japan.
I was very excited also, but I also felt that it's going to be a very heavy responsibility, but I hope that we can do something all together with other international youth delegates, so I will do my best.
A special discussion was also held on the World Conference on Youth following the meeting. Now, a majority of the youth that attended today's special function at the Sri Lankan Embassy in Tokyo inquired as to whether they can still register as members who could attend the World Conference on Youth. Unfortunately, deadlines for the World Conference on Youth closed last month. However, they are still able to join in as observers. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Ramesh Ilugal Bandara with Yasrat Kamalsiri from Tokyo, Japan.
Now moving back into local news, UMP activists charge that the UMP Leadership Council too has failed to grant due positions to individuals that the public are clamouring for. They made these remarks in response to statements that were made during the swearing in of UMP councillors elected to the Western and Southern Provincial Council polls.
If we have complaints and problems, let us discuss them between ourselves. Criticizing each other in this manner will cause great harm. Let's work as a family. Let's work in harmony. If there are problems, let's discuss them. Anyone has the opportunity to talk to anyone in this party.
Earlier, the government and the president had an idea that they should hold a presidential election in November or February rather. I can tell you now that they have abandoned that idea. But just because they have abandoned it, we should not sit around for 2016. We must take to the streets and call for a government-changing election in 2015. When we are strong, we can invite others. So let's build ourselves up first.
Consider the Western Provincial Council election. Harshana Rajakanwa received the highest preferential votes. He is an individual from a family that has rendered immense service to this party. But the position of opposition leader has been given to someone who received less than 20,000 votes. Why? Because of their loyalty. Positions are given to people who bow to the leader and become yeomen of the leader. But positions are not given to individuals that the people call out for. That is why this party cannot rise. What decision did this leadership council take? This shows that the leadership council can do nothing. This must be corrected.
Candidature was not granted to people who could do something at this election. Similarly, following the conclusion of the polls, people that can do something were not appointed as opposition leaders. Persons who are seated on Ranil Wickremesinghe's lap have been appointed as opposition leaders. If this continues, the UMP can never rise. The UMP is like a train that has brought forth numerous prominent personalities. If you consider it today, the engine of the train is broken. The UMP cannot be fixed by changing carriages around without changing the engine.
කියන්නේ හරියට ගත්තොත් එහෙම එන්ජින් එක තමයි සවුත් වෙලා දින්නේ. එන්ජින් එක වෙනස් කරන්නේ නැතුව මේ කෝච්චි පෙට්ටි වෙනස් කරලා මේ UNP එක හදන්න බෑ. අර ජයසූරිය මැතිතුමා
Karl Jayasuriya is functioning as the deputy leader. He took 17 of our people and crossed over, and then he has come back after being defeated and is now preparing to once again drag our party into a crevice. If you look at our party now, it is not party activists who were here before, but new people like Mangala Samravira that are steering the party. They have become like a parasite. This does not just apply to us and the party supporters. It applies to the entire country and the entire opposition. They too have had enough of this individual, and when they speak with us, they feel it even more. All of us as party supporters must come forward to remove this parasite.
Now that baby is 6 months old, you're getting...
As the out of the season is just around the corner, we all know the Sinhala and Tamil New Year often rekindles good memories. But the question that often arises in our minds is whether New Year celebrations and the traditions followed in the present conquer with the traditions of the past. I filed this report earlier today. Even though the sea keeps each and every country apart from each other, the cultures of these countries are woven together, almost like there's no differentiation between these cultures. I feel like the differentiation between these countries are not bigger in comparison to the distance shared between these countries. There was always a question in my mind as to why there's a lamp lit inside the house in front of the Buddha statue and another lamp lit outside the house in the garden. Now when I asked as to why this is followed from my neighbor, he said that this lamp outside the house is lit for the Aurdu Kumara. Let's find out who that Aurdu Kumara is. Lighting a lamp for the Aurdu Kumara is a tradition followed by the Sinhalese people. This is a responsibility vested with the head of the house. He later arranges sweetmeats along with a lamp inside the casket erected in the garden. This ritual is followed as a mark of respect to the Aurdu Kumara ahead of the Aurdu season. This Aurdu Kumara is none other than the sun, which has played and continues to play an intrinsic role in the lives of Sri Lanka's farming community. And that's a wrap of Primetime News at 9. I'm Stephanie Lazarus.
And I'm Madhushka Balasuriya. We leave you tonight with a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Take care and good night.
Hotline 0114-896-896. www.newsfirst.lk. Feedback at newsfirst.lk.